Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're looking at some bases from Micro Art Studios, something small from Poland, and this is a package of round 28mm jungle bases, and I'm going to show you how to paint them today. Micro Art Studio was kind enough to gift these to me when I was in Essen Spiel, and just before we get into the video, I'm going to show you a few of the other items they have in their huge stock. And this is just a small selection. As you can see, they're fairly cheap for 5 bases, 28mm, so perfect for bolt action. You just pay €6, which is really nice, and it's just a standard kind of like blister pack like this. So bear with me, I'm going to show you what else I got as well. And here we have highway bases, 32mm. They come in different sizes and also I think in different shapes. So this one is perfect for, say, Warhammer 40k. And I'll show you another base, something like this, which is halodyne bases around 50mm, and these bases can be used also for 40k. For example, KS Space Marines uses a few of these for their larger figures, and they're also round, so they fit into the tournament format as well. So if you have any questions about that, or if you feel comments of what actually works for 40k or not, I'm not an expert on that, so I just paint miniature bases and miniatures in general. So if you feel that I'm wrong, post that in the comments below. So now we're going to turn our attention to the jungle bases, and jungle bases look very like they're grey. They're kind of doesn't look really that much for show, but I want to show you what it looks like when you open the blister pack. So as you can see here, they're quite detailed. So what I've done here, first of all, is I've spray painted these and with a white primer. You can do it with another primer if you like as well, but this one is fairly nice. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to cover these with some paints, and I'm going to choose there are some different options. You can just put them with the base paint of, say, Caliban Green from Citadel, or a darker grey, because we want a darker grey so we can actually highlight it up in a couple of stages after the wash. So Caliban Green followed by, say, Bilton Green or Athonian Camera Shade would work really well. Luftwaffe Reflective Green or German Dark Camera Green from Vallejo will also work really well. But I'm going to choose to use this paint, which is Citadel Color Contrast Dark Angels Green. It will skip this stage of the wash and give it a nice shine and cover the whole miniature. So I'm going to show you what it looks like, and bear with me just a second. So we do take it undiluted, and we're going to put it on straight on like this, and it's a very fluid color. So you just soak the entire miniature in this contrast paint, making sure that there are no white areas showing. And you may have to do this maybe just one time just to make sure everything is going. And it's as you can see, some of these bases will have featuring some wood parts, but don't worry, I would simply recommend just to cover everything in this contrast, and then you can make out the details later on as you go along. So I'm going to put this one to side here a second. I'm going to show you what it's done when it's finished, because I pre-painted this one, so it will be a fairly quick video. So this one is putting it to a side, and this is what it looks like when it's done. It doesn't overshadow any of the areas, but now it's time for our highlights, because we already covered the wash and the base colors in one by using contrast colors, making sure, of course, that you wash your brush in between in some water. Now, for these, and of course here I've got some bolt action that I painted before. If you haven't seen this video, please check out my videos for how to paint French World War II infantry, early infantry from Warlord Games. All right, so back to the base again. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to point out, for example, all the wooden parts over here, and I also think we have some over here. So we're going to take great care to do them first, paint them first. I'm going to use chocolate brown from Vallejo, but Mornfin brown from Citadel would work really well if you don't have Vallejo's colors. I'm going to use a fairly small brush for this one. This one I'm using a size 2.0 from the Golden Maple series that I picked up on Amazon. They're really good. If you don't have them, I can recommend that you actually pick them up. and I paint them neat. And this one here would actually make sure that it doesn't look all green. It's nice to have something different to reflect them on. If you feel that I'm wrong here, I shouldn't have painted these ones green, maybe they're kind of like vines that should have been painted another color, leave a comment in the comments below and I'd be happy to learn something from you. And I really like learning something new every time. I'm not an expert painter, but if I can learn something from you guys, I really appreciate it. And maybe you can learn something from this video as well. If you're starting out just painting miniatures, it's actually really easy and you can get the hang of it fairly quickly. So there you go, doesn't have to be that much. So I'm going to show you up here what it looks like, and already it starts to look quite okay, but it's still starting to be quite bland. So a highlight stage means that you can also, if you don't want this after you painted this one, you can just dry brush over for example, a color such as Warpstone Glow over the entire miniature, and then color out the wooden parts. That would be an easy stage to do that if you don't have the time for it, or the patience, or a combination of both. So here I'm going to take some Warpstone Glow here, and I'm going to highlight up some of these flowers. And as you can see here, I don't want to cover the raised areas. I want some of the wash and the thing to cover in between. So don't cover everything. And I try to do this with some of the broader leaves here, not everything. But as you can see, it's already starting to look more like a jungle base. And I paint these neat. I don't want to put any wash in any dilution of the paint. You can do that and highlight up in a couple of stages. You can also mix in a little bit of ivory in these paints if you want to make sure that you get an even lighter look after a couple of stages. So I'm going to go over just a few of these leaves. Sometimes just a small dot of paint will make wonders with these ones, and then you can leave the rest of the Citadel contrast paint as shading in the recesses here. So you can see here I'm pointing out as kind of like a small flower, and over here I'm going over to some of the leaves again. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you make mistakes, you can just cover over with a darker color, such as Caliban green again, and you'll be fine. I'm being a little bit rough with these smaller branches here, just because I know it doesn't really matter if you don't cover them or not. But I just want them to stand out a little bit more. As you can see here, it actually looks quite okay. Now, I want to go over and paint a little bit of a dark, light green, but before that I do that, I want to make sure that I go over and touch the flower. And the flower can be painted in a variety of colors, can be red, can be purple, can be pink, but I think purple would be quite okay to paint this one. And to do that, I'm going to select a color of purple that I like. Also, you can go for Genestealer purple, or you can go for Nagaroth Night. It's either way. I'm going to go for Genestealer purple here, and we'll see how it looks. If you feel it's too light or if it's too dark, you can go back, paint it green after it's okay, or you can paint blue as well. Blue would also be quite okay. So with the Genestealer purple, I'm going to cover just the small parts of the petals here. Just like that. Just make sure that, has a little bit of a different color and a little bit of a dot here in the center, making sure that there's a flower there. These small details actually makes a difference sometimes when it comes to, okay, I've really shown that I paid some attention to this brace. Depending on on your level of details, you can choose to forgo that, or you can keep going. Now, I'm going to take another color called, this is a fluorescent color from Vallejo. Yeah, it's fluorescent green. And I'm going to cover some of the green parts of this one. Oh, sorry about that. And the fluorescent green can be very, very effective in highlighting some of these colors, as brings out the really. I try to paint this one when the paint is already wet to make sure it really brings out the colors of the leaves. And you can use this as a selective highlight if you like. Try not to bump the camera again. Sometimes it's unavoidable because you're a bit clumsy like me. And that happens. And as you can see, it really stands out if you paint it on a few of the leaves here. And it makes them shine out a little bit more. The effect can be both subtle or it can be very dramatic. It's your choice here. Now, I'm quite happy as we look at, as it's okay with this one, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to make sure that we paint a small highlight to the wood as well. Now, this is the color that we're going to use for the highlight of the, it's called Flat Earth for the wooden parts. Also neat, and you don't really need that much for it. Just a small part on some of the raised areas here. Making sure they really stand out. And I haven't applied a wash for these ones. You can do that as well if you want to. And this is also a good way to say, like, okay, if I touched this one with some brown or some green before, this is a good way to say to simply paint it over as well. All right, now when this one is done, the paint and this one is already done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some super glue and we're going to see this how you can actually attach a miniature to it. So as it can look like, it looks really nice. And we're going to take this fortress troop from Bolt Action, and we're going to see how this one actually shows up. So if I can put it like this, that would be all right. Don't want to cover some of the. So we put some super glue on his boots. Now, 28mm is good for these ones. So we're going to attach this one something like this. And I know you don't really see much, just want to make sure it doesn't fall in the first second. So this is what it actually looks like. See if I can angle it a little bit. This is what it actually looks like when you glue a figure to it. Then of course you can paint the base like this with a nice color, say dark German dark grey or black, and don't forget to actually put some matte varnish on this figure on the base like this to make sure you seal it. There you go. So our base over here takes some time to dry, so leave it a good 30 minutes, half an hour, and you'll be good to go. If you like this video, please don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And also check out Micro Art Studios. Thank you very much again for these lovely bases, and for more of these bases if you like miniature painting. Thank you very much for watching.